You keep whacking me with a sharp edge. Yes, you do. You're getting me with the sharp edge. Why can't you use the edge that isn't sharp? Hey, watch it.
Mm. Cecil's bashing you on YouTube. Hello. Hello, everybody.
Hello. And welcome to the Monster Bash. No, the Cecil Bash. He used to bashing the heck out of me with that piece of wood. Aren't you? And KK is just being, oh, you turned your toy upside down. It's hard to play it that way. Hard to play it that way, KK Bird.
Hey, you guys. I think it's working now.
There you
Hey.
are. Great.
Oh, I'm going to do my Elvis impression, which isn't terribly good. Just say, Viva Las Vegas.
Now, first chatters here. It's Michelle Thompson. So, hello and welcome.
Hello.
And that's a KK boy. Mm. What's with KK? Is he a little bit tired?
No, he's just enjoying being right next to me, aren't you?
Mm. Incomplete bliss.
He gets out and plays. Usually by the time he does that, though, the meeting's over. But he gets out and plays around. Then he comes back and sits next to me, don't you, boy?
Mm.
Would you quit whacking my glasses with that? I really don't want to put more epoxy on them. I don't. And we got Lucy. She's starting to sit up there now. And that's mainly because this one is bothering her when she goes to her usual spot.
Shuggy, don't become a bully.
She's decided she owns this territory over here, too. So she doesn't like Lucy sitting.
Oh, my.
Yeah, but to be honest, that perch next to the sugar perch, yeah, that looks a little bit like the old sugar perch, like with the wind up perches and yeah.
Oh, would you stop eating my glasses?
I think I can spot a snow bird down there next to a red
Oh,
or
yeah.
little Moroccan colored frisbee.
Oh, yeah, there he is.
Mm. And
Yes,
Lisa
I can break
Banerjee's
it.
here. Hi, Lisa. So Cecil is in full
Hello.
bash mode today, so I think you will enjoy. Brup, brup.
Burp, 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 burp.
Brup, 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 brup.
I'm kind of surprised that Sugar could be bothered to defend another perch as well as the one she's actually on. It
Yeah,
seems
that's
kind
so
of
much
tiring.
work to do.
Yeah.
For sure. There were times she was too lazy for such
Yeah.
a job, but now,
I mean, she's never struck me as a high energy kind of girl.
no, but maybe she sees her daddy doing now his new workout routine, and she's thinking like, when he can do it, I should better do it too. So we have Falcon Sue here. Welcome. She says, hello,
Hello.
chatters, Don and feathered hooligans, which seems to be more true than ever since Cecil is bashing Don with the sharp edges of the toy. Yeah, and Sugar is protecting half of the room as her territory.
Mm.
And we have Jam and Jamie here who says, happy Wednesday, everybody, and donated $5. So thank you very much, Jam and Jamie.
Oh, thank you.
Much appreciated. What are you doing? Big monster? You are just a big monster today.
Cecil wants the burb. Monster burp.
Cecil Hyde.
Have we said that Jasmine is in the room, or has she fully camouflaged back there?
She's just doing what she usually does at this time, which is rest. She
Mm.
takes a nap, and then when the meeting's over, she comes over and tries to enlist Cecil to train her.
Mm.
When Lorelai comes in, she tries the same thing, and she tries to get Bob to do it now too.
No, really.
Bob will. You just have to watch him. He hasn't
Mm.
gotten aggressive. I have to make sure that I have a hand on each bird just in case he decides to get aggressive. But she's
Yeah,
pushy.
Yeah, Jasmine is pushy and Babalu is willing to train, usually. I think he's so happy to be back in the room, not with this group, but with the hooligan group, which comes out after the meeting. He's out again.
I now have Snowball. Snowball can stay in here with Lorelai, but he'll just sit right over there and watch her, or he'll try to climb down here and climb up. So I have to keep an eye on him but I've got him out with him. I'm going to get them all out at some point in the same room. But
I hope Pippa is not offended by Snowball's interest in Lorelai instead of her.
doesn't seem to be. She just wants to get into a fight with Bob, so I have to deal with that.
Yeah, maybe that's the delusion. She's more interested in Bob when he's out.
Yeah, and trying to go after him.
Mm.
He made the mistake of trying to make friends with her, and she didn't want anything to do with him. So
Yeah, Tritons are weird. But they're also cute.
they are.
They certainly are.
It's nice to have a padded room somewhere you can go in and beat your head on the wall if you've got Tritons, but you're going to do that V8, that figure eight with your head again, just this one time.
Yeah, I saw it with Snowball. That looks funny.
He does that sometimes. I don't usually catch it, but would you stop whacking me in the face with that?
I think that would look even more funny to some really good piece of music.
I think it's his special stretches. He has to keep his neck limber so that he can stare at Pink Bird from all different angles.
Yeah, that's top secret frisbee player training. Oh no, put on Cecil. Today he's a really wild child.
Oh, Cecil. You having fun?
Oh, there's a question from Lisa.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, we are going to send you. You are getting a present pretty soon.
It just takes a little while for them to actually get ready and get sent out. So apologies.
Yeah, actually, I need Don for it because it's his account to send it to you.
But it will arrive in the fullness of time.
You know how my memory is. You got to remind me, or I'll just forget things.
Oh, I have written it down. But yeah, I contact you private per email when it's on the way, Lisa. But no problem. Good you ask, so you know.
Yeah, always let us know so that we know. And if there's any other contests that people want to do in future, if you have any ideas, let us know about those as well.
Hey. What are you so animated today for? Why are you so animated? You just have to beat me up today? Is that what it's all about? Hmm?
So full of energy,
He's full of something.
full of
Right.
zing, full of pep.
Ow. You big toad. That's my nose. Pick a smaller target, would you? You nut? You nut? Well, you are a nut. Hey, good boy, but you're a nut. That's my face you're beating up. And that reminds me when I had somebody who it's actually KK's dad before he died was saying that he was worried that KK was going to bite his face. And I said, well, I've seen your face. I don't know what you're worried about.
Yeah, we humans, a lot of them seem to be super afraid of that beak.
Oh. It's not
And the
just your
thing
average.
is, one needs actually to respect it for its force.
Are you
But
gonna
also
be-
they can use it like our hands. I think they can be doing more difficult things than we sometimes with our hands. Just
Mm,
look at training.
they can be very dexterous.
Mm. Mm.
Well, they have their tongues. They've got a bone in their tongue, which we don't have, and then they have the same kind of musculature in their tongue that we have in the fingers. So actually, theirs is a little better because our fingers go up and down, but their tongue can go from side to side. So, what are you doing? And what do you think you're doing? What do you think you're doing? Hmm? Hey, hey, I've got enough scratches on the glasses. Okay.
What a wild bird.
He really is.
Mm.
Oops.
He
You
looks
have to
like
say,
he has a really good time today. Cecil, what are you celebrating? Mm? Yeah, the days becoming longer again.
Can't tell by looking out the window, but it's good that they are.
Mm. At the moment, I actually have the feeling I already can kind of realize it, but of course it has also something to do with the weather because we had a little bit of snow, so most surfaces are now white, and we have pretty great weather with sunshine, so and clear sky, and that altogether makes it feeling lighter than it actually probably is.
Oh, that sounds nice.
It
It's
is.
it's still pretty dark here. I've not seen any difference.
Yeah, that's the pity when one lives
hey,
that far north
no.
compared.
Yeah.
That's enough of that. Hey, Kay, come here. Come here, baby. Come on.
Mhm.
Come on. Come here,
So
KK.
Cecil is entertaining the chat, and Falcon fears that Cecil is disturbing KK's nap time.
It's all right, KK.
I
It's
think-
all right.
By now, I actually think
Cecil and
KK and all the other birds have realized that Cecil is just bashing the dawn.
You got a little too
Yeah, I
wild.
think KK is mostly okay with Cecil.
Mm.
Yep.
They have still that bucket boy connection.
They figured out how to make it work.
Oh, Snowball seems also to have an extra good time today.
Oh,
What
look at
have you
him, yeah.
given them for breakfast, Don?
That's the usual.
Mm. It looks like it's the same as Popeye's food. Lots of spinach.
They've all got a spring in their step today,
Mm.
it seems.
Nice messing with the yellow one, huh? Snowball, when Pippa is not in the room, one can do it. Mm. Mm. No whining yet. What's up with the sugar? Is she playing secretly while the boys are preening?
He's
So
been pretty
cute.
active this morning, so I might just be
Mm.
taking a break. Now that I'm cutting the wood, it's they seem to be a lot more interested in the one bys. So
That looks so cute. Preening boys.
They're such good boys.
I think KK is pretty happy to have come here to Nevada.
Mm.
Even it has included a a flight from Alaska to Nevada.
I think he likes having Don and having a birdie friend as well.
Mhm.
seems pretty happy. I have found a way to give him his medicine. It took a while. I have a long stick. It's about 18 inches long, and at the end of it, I have a little basket, just a woven pine basket or a palm basket. And what I
Mhm.
do is I put the little basket over his head so he can't see. You got to have a long stick though, because he originally he started attacking the stick. So he won't do that now. I just put it over his head and then put quickly put the syringe in his beak and give him a little shot of meds. He doesn't get much, but he was going back after his feathers. So, but he's always been a
Mm.
tough one. Now that if I cover his eyes, he's okay,
Mm.
whatever. He doesn't seem to have a problem. His eyes are covered.
I think I heard Bob in the background.
Yeah, he's been crying, screaming too much. He gets out now and he wants to be out all the time, so he screams, and that's not good. It puts too much pressure on his cloaca.
No, poor Bob. I think now he's basically hearing you talking.
Yeah, it reminds him that he wants to be in here.
Mm.
Well, whether anybody knows it or not, he is the center of the universe. Just ask him. He'll tell you.
Mm. I think that's factually true, since everything is basically the center of the universe.
How is everything the center of the universe?
Yeah, I think that has something to do with it's yeah, mm, infinite. I don't know. I'm not into this matter. of physics, but I've somewhere read that technically everything is the center of the universe, since when it began, it was in one point, and then basically it homogeneously or whatever got bigger. So, but from the beginning, so it's not like growing. So everything is basically the center.
All right, so if the universe is infinite, then it doesn't have edges. So if it has no edges,
They are
it
not
can't have
sure
a...
if it's infinite. Actually, it's expanding, they think. Some think it's really a difficult question. Some also think it's kind of like not infinite like infinite, more like infinite like a circle. You always running around, and when you have made a round, and then basically you're back at the beginning, like that kind of thing. So there are many theories.
I see. It's all a
But
bit
I think
mugged.
we basically can define the Bob as the center of the universe.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And here I just thought he was a solipsist.
Also, I think when it comes to that, you go into a really mathematical way of describing something, and then you really have to think that there are, for example, sets which have no border, and really things which is easy actually to, yeah, to picture for oneself. One just then goes for and writes it down and says like, yeah, the mathematical proof is right, but to imagine it is a little bit like,
It's all rather mind-boggling.
yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
You know, we could be brains in a vat too. So
Brains in a what?
brains in a vat, or we could be just algorithms in a simulation.
Ah, yeah. Also, the only true being could be me, and you are just just all fake. Oh no.
Yeah, that's
We're all
solipsism. Yeah, that's
we're all figments of each other's imaginations.
Yeah.
true. I heard somebody say something about solipsis. Say, well, oh, I'm so glad to hear you're a solipsist. There are so few of them. Yeah,
There's one
it's
of
one
them.
of the, well, that's one of those weird jokes, because in philosophy, if you're a solipsist, you believe you are the universe, and when you die, it all dies. That's
Mm.
I know some people in our government that are like that, but
In your government, there are people who believe in aliens.
I believe in aliens.
Cool.
yeah, I don't think they came here, but because why would you? If you were a highly advanced civilization and you'd figured out how to use something like wormholes to get from place to place, why would you go to Hicktown where they're still killing each other with bombs? Why would you go there? Maybe to see the parrots. Now that would be something. Let's go see the parrots.
I think there's enough weirdness out there that I'm willing to be convinced.
But what did Carl Sagan say? If he said, if the universe, as immense as it is, if we were the only sentient beings in the universe, that would be it would be a big waste of space.
Mm.
I think there have been done calculations which indicate that the probability that there is life away from Earth is actually higher than that it's not. And that has actually something to do that we exist. So we know that we know at least one instance that there is life, and that actually makes puts the possibility that high.
I've lost track, but maybe a year ago they had found over 100 planets that were capable of sustaining life similar to ours. So I'm sure the count's gone up since then. That's only locally. I mean, we can't go terribly far with our
No, And the
That was-
communication would be rather difficult, because when we receive light from them, which is a million or has traveled a million years or so to contact us, or so they basically must have started contacting us before we actually have existed.
Yeah, unless they've come up with quantum communication, which we haven't come up with yet, but where you can bypass the space to communicate. They're talking about that in a lot of sci-fi novels, but that's a potential of being able to communicate using some form of quantum mechanics, but nobody knows that yet.
I'm not so sure if that works, at least not with the theory we have yet.
Well, we're still pretty young and all that, so. But I don't think any sentient beings from any other planets would come here to. It would be like investigating ants. I guess there are some people who might be.
Is only my video on YouTube stuck or stopped, or yeah, seems like that's been only a bug at the moment.
Yeah, mine seems to be fine.
Maybe the companies that run your trains in Germany have decided to take over the internet.
I don't think that's worth it.
Well, that would certainly explain why you would have delays. Are you having fun down there, KK? See if I got off.
Oh, we have a new chatter here. Kristen and the parrot babies. Hello. She's saying, or yeah. I got a cockatoo last Thursday, and when it is just she and she is fine. But as soon as my husband comes home, she get heightened, will bit me. What might be the reason for this?
The number one reason is that you have been if a person pets, they bring in a cockatoo and they start petting them improperly or petting them too long. They get them to start bonding with them, and then that bird will protect you against other people who come into your environment. So when you know your husband's going to be coming home, put the bird away, have him go over and give treats to the bird through the cage doors. That's called protected contact. And then if you only had it a short time, I can't impart all the knowledge of applied behavior analysis to you in 2 minutes, but you need to find out what the bird's favorite treat is, lay a tray out with different kinds of treats, sunflower seeds, almonds, cashews, things like that. Lay it all out, and whatever the bird takes first, this is best in the morning when they haven't eaten yet, that's what you want to take out of their diet, and you're going to use it just to train them. So you're going to have to get your husband to give the bird treats through the cage. And then once you get that going on, then there's another step, and you can ask me, because after you do that, which is come bearing gifts, you have another exercise you need to do. But the other thing is, make sure you don't pet the bird for more than 5 minutes at a time. Don't pet it anywhere except on the head. And I know somebody's going to pop up and say, well, you do it. Yeah, well, I'm trained. When you get training, you can yell at me, because I know when I can do that. But the average person, when they do that, they're going to screw things up. Okay, it's just going to happen. That's like saying,
seeing as you got the bird only last Thursday, I know you want to pet it all the time because it's a new bird, but try and resist if you can.
Yeah, and if you give them a whole bunch of attention in the beginning, and then you get busy with your life and withdraw that attention, you either have a screaming or a biting bird, and that will be your fault. It will be ignorance on your part, but it will be your fault, because they learn to expect the level of attention you give them when you first get them. You can't withdraw that. So if you've given the bird too much attention in the beginning, you're going to have to withdraw and try to deal with the other issues that pop up. Make sure you never, when you bring a bird in, you want to make sure you never give them more attention on those first few weeks than you're going to give them a year from now or 2 years from now. There's a lot to it. It's not a simple thing. I mean, I've taken 2 different courses on training, so psychology and training. And little mistakes turn into big ones. So probably been petting the bird either too long
Yeah,
or
but
improperly.
when it has come last Thursday, that's not even a week or so. Can it also
Yeah.
be that the bird is completely new and might I don't know if it's a young bird and has never been in a home environment before, or it has made some other experience before, like that it's afraid of men in general.
But in general, don't worry. I mean, if you can train a behavior, you can untrain a behavior, and you know,
Yeah.
it just takes a bit of figuring out and try a few things and be systematic and just keep an open mind, and you'll get there. So
Yeah,
just
Dr. Friedman
a
said,
little
like,
bit at a time.
yeah, like you're saying what Dr. Friedman says, deal with the behavior you're seeing and don't try to over analyze it. Deal with what's going on inside their heads or what happened in the past. You just see the behavior you're dealing with and deal with that behavior. So in this case, it sounds like you've probably given too much attention to the bird or improper attention. And if it's only been a short time, you can get around it, but you need to back off now and figure out how much time you're going to give the bird from here on out, and give it just that. Pet it only on the head. Watch the signs. If it's a female bird, watch to make sure the bird isn't kind of hunching down, which is the first thing they'll do, and then start vibrating. If it's a male bird, make sure they're not fanning their tail feathers out. Sometimes a female will do one of those behaviors, or a male will do one of those behaviors as well. But you just don't want them to get bonded to you, because if they get bonded, then you have to work on making them, not making them, but you want to teach them to accept other people in the environment. The way you're describing it is you're getting bit when your husband comes in the door. That sounds like the bird is protecting you. They bite when they protect you. And so it sounds like bonding is going on, and you want to break that if you can.
So that by bonding, we mean like the bird sees your husband as a rival for your attention, basically.
Yes, exactly. I doubt the bird's bonded to you instantly. It does happen sometimes, but you're going to have to break that cycle. So the bird goes in the cage when the husband's coming home. If he comes home at irregular times, then you need to have him call you when he's coming up, before he comes up to the door, so you can get the bird put away. And then he has to be the one to give the bird treats. You're not going to give the bird any treats for a while. So he will come bearing gifts. He will bring that special treat over. And then eventually you're going to get calm attention. The next step is to get him to sit in front of the bird cage, get the bird to look at him for a second, solid look at him, and then give it a treat. And then say, good bird. Well, he's, as the bird gets that 1 second in, and have him build up to, over time, you add a second here and add a second there, until you can get the bird to sit there for a minute and pay attention to you. And at that point, you're probably not going to get bitten when he comes home anymore. But this is a common problem. I don't know how many times I've dealt with just that issue. And it's usually petting improperly, giving the bird too much attention, that kind of thing. Once in a while, the bird just, like with Pippa, when Pippa came to me, the man who brought her down, I say man because it wasn't his bird. His girlfriend skipped off to Brazil and left the bird here, and he'd had that bird for a couple of years. So he said, Pippa doesn't usually take to people. She flew over to my chest and put her wings around me and just started hugging me from the first moment she saw me. So Pippa bonded to me the moment she saw me, and I had nothing I could do about that. But I can work with bonded birds. So you teach them to be able to accept other birds and other people around you. That's what you have to do.
And a good way to spend time with your bird without petting is to train it, teach it tricks. And I mean, obviously start with the basics, you know, step up and that kind of thing. But if you spend time training it to do stuff, then you're improving the relationship and the communication between you two. So that means there's more trust and it's easier to help with behavioral. If you feel kind of like, oh, I want to pet my bird, but I'm worried about petting it too much, then do some training.
Yep. Keep the training to 10 minutes or less. Start with targeting. Get them to follow your hand. So you can put, let's say if they like sunflower scenes, you laid everything out and you found out what they like. You've taken it out of their diet. So you get them on a perch, use the same hand every time. Don't start switching hands and things because you're just going to confuse them. You know, it's like anything else. They're expecting certain cues. They see something different. They don't know what to expect. So take your right hand.
So it looks like the parrot is 17 years old. It's a female parrot, and the parrot likes the husband, as it looks like. Yeah, the most important is not to pet the bird under the neck. So everything under the neck also basically increases bonding behavior, and it's considered the bird gets interprets it as a sexual attempt. So just don't do it, especially when you have problems with getting bitten in a situation like your husband comes in and your bird bites you. That always, as Don told, has some can indicate that it has something to do with protecting a mate.
Yeah, and if
it says, I'm sorry, Don, it says in the comment that it's like the bird is protecting the husband from Kristen rather than the other way around. And honestly, it could be either, but the main thing is that, you know, if the bird's having trouble coping with the two of you being together with her, then it's like you need to sort of break that up, regardless of which way around it's working.
Yeah, if it happens to be the bird is doing that because the bird is bonded to the husband, or bonding to the husband, then what you need to do is the lady of the house needs to be the one that is putting the treats through the bars of the cage, putting the bird away before the husband comes home, the one that takes the intermittent treats to the bird, the one who gets the bird to do calm attention, where you sit in front of it and get it to look at you. If it looks away, you got to start the time over again. So you're only trying a second, but eventually you can get this up to a minute. And it may sound like it's not like, how is that going to work? Well, you can see some of the videos from Dr. Zellig's. If you look at Animal Training 101 on YouTube or go out to their website, you can see her working with these animals. And one of our former board members was saying, well, of course she can train these birds. Well, because they're all paying attention to her. Yeah, she uses calm attention to take that technique to teach the animal to pay attention to her. So believe me, it works. So, and she's working right now mostly with sea lions and that kind of thing. So she's dealing with predators. And although she does work with hyenas and other kinds of animals, she's worked with lions and tigers and all that. So if you think you can walk into a cage with a lion and succeed in training them, go for it. It's the same with these birds, though. You do have to train them. You can't just expect them to have the behaviors you want. And you have to train them to want to learn good behaviors. You don't want to train them in such a way they become afraid of you. That's not going to help. You have to train them.
Yeah, that's the thing. You need the motivation there to get started.
Yeah, the carrot or the stick. In this case, we use carrots. The only time we use sticks is when we have a dangerous situation and we're teaching them, you don't want to step on that stove, that kind of thing. I mean, you do things to protect them, but I've got birds I can trust in the kitchen. They are not going to go to the stove. I never walk away from the stove while they're in the room because I can stop them if something did happen. They got scared and flew that way, but they're trained to stay off the stove. So, yeah, I've gone through a lot of training. I have Dr. Susan Friedman's LLA course and also her LLP course, which is She has one that's just for veterinarians and people who want to be bird trainers. She has another one for the public, to people who just have birds they want to be able to handle. And then I took Dr. Zellick's course in Animal Training 101, which that's working with any animal to get it to make the right choices. And she's working with right now she's working with the aquatic animals like sea lions. You can't anesthetize them. They may never come out. So you need somebody who can train them to have an operation while they're wide awake.
Another message from Kristen. I also think she never had treats before. I have tried all kinds of nuts and seeds, and she doesn't like any of them. I have tried 20 or 30 different things. She's so picky. Tried fruit, nuts, seeds. She won't eat any of it. Yeah, that sounds like that she has a complete different meal where she come from. And these guys are slow when it comes to changing their eating habits.
Yeah, you just have to put in a tiny, tiny bit of the new food each day. Like if you just, as an example, if you give them 200 grams of food a day, like if you give them 190 grams of the old food and 10 grams of the new food, and then the next day you do 185 and then 15, and just like a tiny, tiny increments, and just basically trick them into eating it.
Yeah, if you can try like a craft stick with peanut butter on it. Most birds like peanut butter, not all. Cashew butter, different kinds of butters, almond butter. Just try stuff like that, and then just put a tiny bit on a craft stick as a reward. But you have to find something, and they're obviously eating. So, I don't know what their diet is. If they're eating pellets, that's the best thing. But they still need other things, greens and veggies, and a little bit of fruit here and there. But they're the hardest ones to change their diet. Cockatoos are. Parrots usually are easier. Your true parrot. Amazons usually will eat just about 90% of what you offer them. A cockatoo, they'll eat what they want, what they recognize, that kind of thing. So if they were fed a terrible diet, it's going to be an issue. So you need to find something. So you have to keep working at it. If you learn one thing, having parrots around it's a thing called patience, because you got to keep trying. This one up here was on sugared cereals when I got her. So
frosted flakes and strawberry jam.
Well, you want sugared food.
That's why she's called Sugar. She is what she eats.
Now she eats edamame. She eats the birdie bread I make. She eats the mash, a little bit of all of it. Different days she eats different things out of it, but she's got a pretty well-rounded diet.
But it's 12 years ago since you got her.
Yeah, it took 2.5 years to get her to eat decent food. She started off with the birdie bread. That was the first thing she started eating, and then she eventually went to eating the edamame, and then she went over to the mash in that order, and it took a long time. You're expecting it's like, I'm trying to think. It's like dealing with a bull. The bull's going to use certain behaviors like charging and eating grass, and if that's what they're used to doing, that's what you're going to get. So hey, stop it over there. Pippa, no. Pippa, no. Pippa.
When did Pippa come into the room?
Oh, it's not Pippa, that's KK. Sorry. That's what she usually does. So I saw the behavior and it looked like it was Pippa.
I saw a white bird sneaking in that box, and I thought I had illusions, since I was like, no, wait, KK sitting on Dawn, and that's Cecil, so
yeah, that's what she does. He was exactly duplicating her behavior, so that's why I was calling her name. Just exactly
KK did that on purpose. He's like, oh, I'll just do the thing that Pippa does, and then I can get in trouble and blame her.
Mm.
He wasn't listening to me because I wasn't saying his name either. So
Yep.
yeah, they do know their names. That's a good boy. You came over.
Probably giggling in his birdie beard, like ha ha ha.
Yeah.
What
He's
did I
like,
call you?
Pippa took the fuck.
Yeah,
Oh,
Kristen
we
makes
love you
chop
too, KK.
daily, and her parrot was on Missouri pellets, and her other two birds are on the Bird Drake organic pellets. So the best is to give your new bird still the Missouri pellets and then switch it over to other pellets if you prefer slowly on a slowly continuous base.
Or give all the birds a mixture of both kinds of pellets. So then if one of them like goes out of stock, then they've still got something they can eat.
That's what I do. Yeah, they've got they get Supreme and Missouri, and then they get their treats in the same bowl. The treats draw them over. They chew on a cashew or something, and then they start eating their other pellets. But yeah, you want them to have more than one brand in there, so that way, if they decide they don't want one that day, or they're at least they'll be familiar with it. You never know when a company may have a problem in production as well. So if you're feeding them one brand, and then all of a sudden that brand is not available for a week or two or a month, what are you going to feed them? Just make sure you have more than one brand in there.
Oh, and also there's a comment from Lisa who says that she's had Rico for 32 and a half years, and when Alvin gets home, Rico still gets naughty. So sometimes birds are just gonna bird. That's just what they do.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, I can pretty much guarantee you one thing. If the bird was in Dr. Zelig's home or was in Dr. Friedman's home, that behavior will be altered. There's no question about it. Because they got, the professional alter behavior. It's, I do too, but I'm not in nowhere as good as Dr. Zelig's or Dr. Friedman's. So
Do you think both of them together could cure Bob?
cure. They could help him make better choices, but he's a Triton, so he's always going to be full of energy. But they can help protect that energy, sure.
Can they stop him screaming?
I could stop him screaming if I could get out of this room while I had these other birds in here and deal with it. He doesn't scream when I'm outside where I can deal with him. He does it when I'm inside here and he can hear my voice, which is mostly on those times when we've got a live stream of something going on. That's when he'll do it. But out there, he doesn't do it.
Poor Bob, he wants to be on YouTube.
Mm.
Wants to be in the live stream.
He wants to chew all the viewers.
Yes, he does. Oh, he's such a social guy. He's just but he doesn't have social skills, but he wants to be the center of the social circle. Now, if you noticed, when I got KK, aka Pippa, I got KK up, I did not say anything negative to him. I didn't scold him for what he was doing. I just got him over and redirected his attention. That's it. Scolding a
Now he's
bird.
breeding.
Yeah.
Breeding like a good boy.
Scolding a bird is counterproductive. If you try doing that, you're just going to create a bigger problem. So now, if I yell for them to stop, which I was trying to do, he would have done it if I'd called him by his name. That's so funny because it looked from my angle, all I saw was the head and the wings up, exactly as Pippa would have done it. It's exactly how she acts when she goes after Snowball.
Mistaken identity.
Mm-hmm. Poor Pippa.
She got the blame.
She didn't do anything wrong. Nope. But what you do in those situations is redirect them. It's kind of like the timeout situation, except that You're not timing out the bird for it. You're just putting it into a different situation. And most behaviors are situational. So once I got him on my lap, Cecil came in and said, okay, I'll help correct this. It's being a helper bird. He's good at that.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's complex. I mean, I knew I was out of my depth when I got Chloe, so I'm looking at these behaviors going, I need to get some classes. And that's when I got into Dr. Friedman's class. And as soon as I heard about Animal Training 101, I went ahead and take that course too. So I've had the academic side and the more practical side. Although if you get Dr. Zellick's book, Animal Training 101, you'll wish you took her course. It's good to go with the course, but it's more like graduate level college to read that book. So,
Question by Lisa: Was Cecil wild caught? I don't think
No.
so.
no,
As far as I know, he came from breeder hell because
Yep.
they wanted to breed with him. They thought he is a female, so his when he came to Don, he called her in the first couple of videos Cecilia. They just called him CC, and he was together with another male, and didn't produce any eggs, and therefore they were like, we need to get rid of this bird. Luck for Cecil.
So he is wild, but he is not wild caught.
No.
He's just wild.
And he's male, definitely.
Yeah, he's definitely male.
There's no doubt.
And they are wild animals. These are not pets. You know, they are wild animals, and you will hear people talk about them like they're domesticated. They're the only technically domesticated parrots are the budgerigars and the cockatoos. Cockatoos. The rest, these other guys have not been. The first parrot, as far as I know, the first parrot that was domesticated, not domesticated, but brought into captivity and used like a pet was the Alexandrian parakeet, named after the individual who had the bird. That was Alexander the Great. And that is still the Alexandrian parakeets are still not domesticated. They're still wild animals. So the problem is they don't know what they are because they are raised in incubators. They don't get to meet their parents or live in a flock. So just imagine if you took a kid and put it in an incubator and then let chimpanzees raise it. I don't think you'd have a human there. I think you would call human anyway. It's tough on these guys. They still have some of they have wild urges. They don't know what to do with them.
I think there has been once an experiment where a scientist or a researcher raised actually an ape together with his own child. So they were basically the same age, and they closed down the experiment, I think, after 1.5 years. Not because the ape becomes too human, but the human child started to become pretty ape-like. So yeah.
Yeah, these guys, they don't have much innate behavior, so they learn their behavior from the moment they're hatched. Actually, before that, because they get to hear their parents talking. I mean, their ears do develop before they hatch, so they get to hear that. They get to hear interactions. All this stuff happens before they hatch, and they come into the world, and then they deal with their mother and their father, and they learn their names. That's been proven now by the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. They learn their names, and then they go out and flock, and they learn how to eat. They're taught what to eat and what to do, and humans can't teach them any of this stuff. You almost want to find some of these breeders that have birds and take their kids away from them at birth and show them what will happen when their kids are raised that way. But we're obviously not going to do that. But They don't realize human beings have the ability to block out truth from their minds. So they don't realize what they're doing to these poor guys when they raise them like that. Yeah, you think so? KK, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? You have anything to say about that?
Lisa would like to know if parrots have smell.
You mean, are you saying can they smell? Is that what you mean? Do they have an olfactory ability?
I guess so. Not if they are smelly.
Well, they definitely aren't smelly. There's groups on Facebook where people are sniffing their birds, which I think is kind of odd, but they do
Kind of
exist.
powdery and nice.
They do have a pleasant smell about them. They do not have much of a smell. They have, compared to, for example, with their taste buds, they only have about 300, and humans have around 3,300. The ones for Jack in the Box and McDonald's and all that kind of flavor thing. So they don't have a terribly developed sense of smell. They can smell things that are dangerous more than anything else. Mostly it's by sight. Their sight is better than ours. They can look at a piece of fruit or whatever. They can tell if it's molding. They can see the mold on the fruit. We can't.
Can they smell smoke?
They recognize they definitely can smell smoke. They can get out of there. There are certain dangerous things they are able to recognize. In their world, smoke is probably the worst. So, but they recognize more by sight than by any kind of smell. And they do have taste. They like hot peppers. They like that. It has a different flavor to them than it does to us. They like that burning sensation is more of a taste to them. And it's good for their digestion. So. Right. Yeah, if we could train them to point out the good food, we could go into a supermarket with a parrot. Of course, they let kids in there that are covered with disease, but they don't want you to bring a parrot in. But the parrot could tell you where the good fruits are. Buy that one. Don't touch that thing. They can see where they're molding before we have any idea.
But be careful with sugar. You might end up in the Frosted Flakes area.
That was one of the things.
Or next to the man who sells fries.
Yeah.
That was a nightmare getting here to switch. I tried going over to the better corn flakes that were made supposed to be healthier. I read the label. They were better, but she wouldn't eat them. So what I had to do is just keep exposing her to other things until eventually she tried them. And when I say eventually, it took months. It's like giving broccoli to George Bush. He's not going to eat it. So.
Was he famous for not liking broccoli?
Yeah. A lot of other
Look
things.
at that.
He wouldn't eat broccoli. They're complicated.
Broccoli is super healthy.
And then they're functionally autistic. So if you've watched something like Rain Man, that movie Rain Man, it's kind of what you're dealing with on these guys. They get used to a certain type of routine. They allow a certain type of food, and hey, you're not doing that. I'm not grabbing your finger.
Another question by Lisa. Toxic things like chemicals or sprays go through the parrot's nostril to the air sacs. Is this how they can die of toxins?
Well, they don't have an alveoli. Okay, we have a specialized cell that blocks a lot of that. They don't have that. Plus, we also keep about 80% dead air in our lungs. We bring in about 20% new air in every breath. They get a completely emptied, when they breathe, they dump, it goes in one way and comes out the other. So they don't have any dead air in there. So when a toxin goes in there, there's nothing to protect their lungs from pulling it into the bloodstream, and it goes directly into their lungs. So that's why they put the canaries in the coal mines in Ireland. You got to have the canary and if the canary goes, you're going next. So yeah, I know, but you can't do that. Wrong species. Wrong species.
Mm,
It's getting excited again.
okay,
Yeah.
Kate.
Getting a little.
I saw him. He was kicking his legs in front of the toy box of Snowball's toy box before he went in. So he's definitely looking for a nice nest, so he can perch Don in and care for him.
Yeah.
And as a last note, because it's about time here, Dr. Friedman was saying that she said that if you've studied anything and you think it's complex, she said there's nothing more complex than behavior. So you bring home a wild animal that basically has a pair of pliers and a foghorn built in, and the intelligence of a chimpanzee, and you expect it to conform to what you want it to do. Good luck with that. I knew I was out of my depths. That's why I took the courses. And it's still not easy, but I can work through it. Paz is the toughest one because she's always had a strange way of looking at the world. It's hard to get her to look directly at you. She always tries to look from the side. And she'll be quiet and then just jump at another bird. There's a signal there that I understand some of them, but I don't have all of them yet. So got to be careful. Keeping her in a harness is the best bet, because if she does try to leap at another bird, you can pull her back. But she's getting better. It's a matter of time. Keep working at it. Never give up. Oh, now you're going to ask to be petted? Well, you picked your timing pretty good, because we have to say goodbye. You want to say goodbye to the folks?
Oh, look, finally, Shuk came over. Shuki came over to say bye-bye. That's nice of you, Shuki.
Oh, I think she's just like, finally the live stream is ending and the people are leaving. Now I can phone all to myself.
Oh, look, and she has all her feathers out, the head feathers. So she has this huge feather circle around her face, which looks great.
Well, thanks, guys, for being here. We'll see you next week.
Kristen says thank you for the help. And you can always come back and ask more questions. We are here to do that, to answer your questions about birds. So feel free to ask whenever you think you have a question. We are happy to answer, and good luck with your bird.
We live stream on Mondays and Wednesdays, so you can always pop back.
Need to mention that I'm going to be putting up a course, and it's be broken down into different levels, but a course up on Patreon so that you can you've got a bird that's biting or a bird that is screaming. There'll be separate classes for that. I suggest taking the whole thing, but I will allow people to take individual segments, and I will quickly go over some of the basics. I'm not going to go into the basics in every video, but I will go into some of the basics so you won't drop in there completely lost. But you'll be able to choose to take a short course, maybe 20 minutes, in how to deal with biting, and the same thing with screaming and other behaviors like chewing, that kind of thing. They're going to chew. It's just, what are they going to chew, right? So, guys, thanks for being here. Cecil and KK will say goodbye. Well, they're kind of busy to say goodbye, but thanks, Amy, and thanks, Eleanor, for your help. And we're out of here, right,
Thank you,
Snowball?
Don, for the stream.
Oh, you're welcome.